Hi, my name is Mark, and we're going to do some testing, rating, and review of some fidget spinners. I got addicted to these silly toys a couple of weeks ago, and I got interested in finding out how do you get the better ones, where do you get the better ones, and what are the better ones. So I wanted to rate some of these and hopefully get some information to help people out finding the better ones, or the worst ones if they want the worst ones. And what I did was I developed a little rating system to rate them, and a little test to test the spin duration. So basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this typical fidget spinner, average thing like you might pick up anywhere, to kind of as the standard for what we're going to do, and I'll show you some of the other things later on. So let me move these other ones out of the way here. I'm going to do these 5 on this video, and we'll do a lot more later. I'm going to try to do 4 or 5 per video. So this is your typical fidget spinner, and what I've got here is every one of these fidget spinners is going to get a rating sheet, and basically a data collection sheet. The first 3 things I can look at on the data collection sheet are things that I'm going to be doing subjectively, and some other things are going to be more objective. I'm going to try to do this a little bit more systematically than some people do, and hopefully we can get some better information. First, I'm just going to rate the appearance. I'll go through this a lot more detail later on, but first I'm going to rate the appearance of this fidget spinner, and it's got nice colors. That's why I bought it. But it's a typical fidget spinner. It's not the nicest design in the world, but it's okay. And so I'm going to use that as a standard and give it a 5 out of 10 for the rating. The other thing I'm going to rate is the feel of the spinner. How does it feel in your hand, and how good is it to play with, and things like that. And again, it's good to play with, and it feels pretty nice. It does feel like plastic. It's got a little bit of roughness around the edge where the mold came together. There's a lot of them that are a lot better, and there's certainly some that are a lot worse. So again, I'm going to use this as a standard and call it a 5. Give that a 5 for feel. And the third thing I'm going to rate subjectively is the perceived quality of it. I can't rate the actual quality if there is such a thing. So I'm just going to base it on how do I perceive the quality of this. And it's basically, it's a cheapo. But it's not super cheap though. It's made of plastic, but it's pretty nice plastic. The quality of the bearing is hard to tell, but from what I can see here and from goofing around with it, it seems to be decent quality, pretty much average. So I'm going to use it as the standard again and give it a 5. Now the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get a much better indication of the spin duration of these little devices. So I've got a little rig set up where I'm going to blast these things with an air hose for a specified duration and see just how long they spin, and I'll go through that system with you as we get going. I don't recommend using an air hose for fidget spinners. It could be dangerous, and I'm going to be wearing protective gear, so I'm not too worried about getting hurt. But if you play around with it, you might get hurt. So don't do this at home. So I'm going to cut out here and set up my rig and test this fidget spinner. All right, here we are in my junky little hobby room, and we're going to blast a fidget spinner with air to see how long a spin duration it'll get. I've got this fidget spinner clamped in this vise here, little clamp. You just take it out and you put it in like that. And this is the air hose. I'm going to be delivering a 8-second blast of air to the fidget spinners. I'm going to do the same for every one. It's 8 seconds because without 8 seconds, it's hard for some of the heavier ones to get up to maximum speed that they would get with this particular air hose. And 10 minutes is a little bit of overkill. So we're just going to go with 8 seconds of air. I'm going to time that manually, which will introduce a little bit of air. And here is my crappy iPhone 5 that I don't use anymore. I'm going to use it for a timer. So here we go. First run, I'm going to run all the way through this one. All right, that was an 8-second air blast to the fidget spinner. It's going pretty quick. It did hold up fine to that kind of speed. And we're just going to watch it go all the way through. I'll probably cut out some of this so you don't have to watch the whole thing and waste your time. But we're going to see what kind of a speed we get. I'm actually going to spin each one 3 times and take the average speed to try to eliminate some error that I might have introduced, or to reduce it anyway. And that will be the score we get for the duration of the spinner. I'll be comparing the data on that with some other variables that are involved in this after we get some more data collected. And it is slowing down quite a bit. All right, we just reached the 1 minute mark. There. And it's going pretty good. I'm going to let it run all the way till it stops. I think that last little bit of very slow spin is probably a good indication of how good the bearing is. At higher speeds, air resistance is probably a more important factor, but at lower speeds, I think the bearing is going to be a little bit more important, or the quality of the bearing. Slowing down quite a bit now. And I'm going to stop it when it stops. We've got 2 minutes. And stop. 2 minutes 13 seconds. 2 minutes 14 seconds actually, rounding. All right, so I'm not going to show you the other tests. I'm going to test this 2 more times, and then we'll just take the average of those. So I'm going to sign off right here. Okay, I collected up the rest of the data on this particular fidget spinner, and basically the ratings, I converted them to just single digits, and with taking the average of these 3. So how it's going to be weighted is the subjective measures are going to count for half of the rating, and the spin duration is going to count for the other half. So we got a 3 on spin duration, and we got an average of 5 on the subjective measures. So average of 3 and 5 is 4. So this is this fidget spinner number 1, which is unbranded. I have no idea what the name of these things are. Gets a score of 4. And then we're going to keep this data sheet with the spinner. Some other things I'm keeping track of, which I'm going to incorporate later on once we get some more data collected. The source of the fidget spinner, I got this off of eBay, and the price was $5.99. It weighs 49 grams, which is 49 grams, which is 1.7 ounces. And the bearing, I don't know what kind of bearing it has. I'm not an expert on bearings, but it is an unbranded piece. It's made of plastic, and the color is blue. That's all the data I'm keeping track of, and we'll see all of that come into it later on once we've got some more information. So we're going to get started on the next fidget spinner. Okay, we're back again. And to save time, I'm going to do the subjective measurements on the other 4 fidget spinners all together. I'm going to run through this really quick to try to save time. I know you've got better things to do than watch fidget spinner videos all day, so I'm going to go quickly. This one is a think I got this from Amazon, but I'm going to have to check again. We'll get to that later. But it does have a name on it, and it says Salve Fee, S-A-V-F-Y. So let's rate this one on the subjective measures. The appearance. Well, it looks like robot parts, and I saw on the internet that this is a knockoff of a more expensive or earlier version. You see this design all over the place in every color you can imagine. I'm not particularly fond of the appearance of this thing. It just doesn't look quite right to me. But I can see how somebody would like the appearance. I'm not going to knock it that much. But not. I'll probably give the appearance on that about a 5. The feels pretty nice, actually. You know, it seems to spin good. There's no noise. And I don't get into tearing the caps off of these things to look at the bearings. I wouldn't know what I'm looking at anyway. I can't tell which ones are which. Maybe I'll learn more about that later. But yeah, it spins nice. Feels good in the hand. It's very nice. I'm going to give that about let's give that a 6. Now let's give that a 7. I'd say 7. Perceived quality. Seems like good quality to me. It's not making noise, and it's spinning pretty well. It's made of metal. I'm not sure what kind of metal, but it's got some weight to it. Not a huge amount of weight, but some weight. So the perceived quality is pretty high. I'm going to say about an 8. And we're going to call this fidget spinner number 2. I'm just going to put the Salve Fee on here so I know which one it is. Set that one aside for a minute. Let's check this one out. This one's all over the place. Just a plain old wheel with some little curved spokes in it. It doesn't seem to spin that well, but it's got a metal collar around the outside, gold color, and yeah, the appearance, it's okay. I'd say about a 5. The feel, it's a little bit sharp on the edges. It's not really rounded very well. Not really sharp, but a little bit sharp. So how does it feel in the hand, and how does it seem to spin? It's kind of awkward to spin it because you don't really catch on anything. It's just spinning a wheel. So the feel, I'm not going to say give it a very good rating for. I'm going to give it a 4 on feel. Perceived quality, it's got a metal ring around the outside, and it's got a plastic spokes and a plastic buttons, and it doesn't appear to be very good quality. Actually, it seems like about an average. Comparing it to our previous standard, I'd say again about a 5. All right, so we'll go with spinner number 3, and this is the wheel. And then we're going to go to the next one, which is this gizmo. And I think this is a knockoff of a different version also. It does have a brand on it, which I can't read because I'm old. So I'm going to have to get my magnifying glass out here. It says Valtcan, V-A-L-T-C-A-N, which I've seen that name around. It should be pretty good. The appearance, well, it's wild, for one thing. It looks pretty strange. And I think it looks pretty good. I'd say about a 6. Feel, not so good. It's not, it's got rough edges, some pointy spots. And it's just because of the weird shape, it's not really great to hold. But and let's see how it seems to spin pretty well. That's the best one so far on spinning, I think. But that's subjective. We'll find that out for sure later. Feel, about a 5. Perceived quality, seems like good quality. You know, it's all metal. I don't know, again, I'm not sure what kind of metal. It kind of feels like steel. I think it's too heavy to be aluminum. It does have some weight. Perceived quality, that's got a little, I'd say about a 7. And we're going to call this number 4. I think they called this the squid, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll put that aside, and then we've got this one. What do you say about this? I don't know if you can see that against the black background. It's the biohazard symbol. I think this came from China. First thing you notice about it is it's very light. It doesn't have much weight at all, which in my book isn't that great. But it looks pretty cool. It's just a nice biohazard symbol in black. So I'm going to give it a pretty good appearance rating. I'm going to give it about a 7. The feel, pretty bad. Doesn't seem to spin that well. A little better than the cheapos maybe. And well, it's got pointy spots. That's the big problem. It's you can spin it okay with a finger, but I'll put it over here on the white so you can see it a little better. You can spin it okay, but it's got pointy spots and it doesn't really feel all that great. It feels like you're holding something that's going to poke you. So the feel's not good. I'm going to say about a 3. Perceived quality, if it were heavier, it would have a better perceived quality, but it's made out of some very light metal. So the perceived quality is fairly low. Again, I'm going to say an average, about a 5. And that is the last one. This is number 5, and we'll call this one the biohazard. And again, I don't know the company name on this, but I'll get all the other data later on. So let's set up the rig and test these things out on spin duration. Okay, here's number 2, the Salve Fee. We're going to spin this one up. Are we ready? Let's go. Coming to a stop now. 3 minutes and 40 seconds. I'm not going to video the other 2 tests, but I'm going to run this one 2 more times. The vise, a couple concerns about this one. For one thing, it's not going to catch the air as well as the others, but I still think it'll get up to its maximum speed. We'll find out in a second. I'm a little bit concerned this thing might fly apart, so I made sure to get my protective gear on. And let's fire it up. Well, that was different. It didn't make anywhere near the noise the other ones make. It's going pretty good. I don't know if that made it up to its top speed, but we'll see what happens here. Five minutes and 43 seconds. That's a lot better. That's a lot better than I thought it was going to do. I'm really surprised by that, because it seems like it's a pretty cheap one, but that's a very good score. So I'm going to run the other 2 tests. Okay, we've got the Vault Can spinner in the rig, and we're going to fire it up. All right, that's 2 minutes 2 minutes 59 seconds, which is a little bit disappointing. Okay, we have the biohazard spinner in the rig. I'm ready to spin it up. And it's going pretty fast. It reached its top speed very quickly, probably because it's so light. And it's slowing down pretty quickly. "36 seconds. That was pretty horrible. Okay, it's time for a wrap up on these 5 fidget spinners. I've got ratings for all of them, and I collected some data on them. And we'll tell you what that's all about. The first one is this little blue guy. Now I put all these back in the packaging they came in, except for this one because it just comes in one of those little white boxes, and I think I lost the box. So this one got an overall ranking of 4, which qualifies it as basically a yawn. It's just an average boring fidget spinner. Got an average spin duration of 2 minutes 17 seconds. I got this on eBay. It costs $5.99. It weighs 49 grams, and it was unbranded, and it's made of plastic, and it's blue in color. So this one is the one I kind of use as the standard, but it gets a 4 overall. The next one is this Salve Fee robotic piece. Got this on eBay. It was $12.29. It weighs 78 grams, and it apparently is a knockoff of some other company's design. It's metal of some type, and it's black. It is a little heavy, and it has pretty good sized buttons on it. It got a little bit of a disappointing spin time of an average of 3 minutes and 34 seconds. I gave it a pretty high subjective rating though of 6.66, and with the rating for the duration, which was rated as good, which is over 3 minutes, it's got an overall score of 5.33, which is pretty average according to my scale. And it comes in this little cardboard box. The next one is this wheel, which I don't think it came in any packaging at all. It was kind of surprising. It got a very long spin time, average of 5 minutes and 13 seconds. And I gave it on the subjective measures, all in all, I gave it a 4.66. So the overall score was 5.33, which is average. Got it on eBay. Cost $10.68, and it weighs 31 grams, so it's very light. It was unbranded. It's made of metal and plastic, and its color is gold and black. Very good duration on the spin time, though. That was a little bit surprising. And then we have number 4, which is I found out this one is called the Vulcan Squid. And gave it a 6 on the subjective measures, and it got an average spin time of 3 minutes and 5 seconds, which was I thought really disappointing, especially since I got this one on Amazon and it cost $28, which is the most expensive one I have right here in this of these 5. Weighs 75 grams, got some weight to it. It's made of metal, which appears to me to be steel, and it is silver color. But this weird little guy didn't spin very well, and it's probably because it's not balanced well. I picked up the poor balance during the test. It made the mechanism shake back and forth. and I can even feel the wobble in that, so it's just not balanced well, unfortunately. That really cut into its score. It got an average score of 4.5, which it got an overall score of 4.5, which I called a yawn, so it goes along with this one, with this blue one. And the last one is the biohazard symbol, which came in this little tin, one of these generic tins. And I gave it a pretty good subjective rating of 5, but the spin duration was horrible. It only spun for an average of 37.33 seconds, which I'm rating as garbage or crap. And the overall score, when it's all calculated out, was a 3, which is poor. So this is the worst one of the bunch. And then came these two, which were the same rating pretty much, or very close to the same rating. And then this one, I think it was right after, or very close, and then this one. So this little wheel, I believe, got the best score of the bunch. I'll make sure on that. Oh no, this one here got a 5.33, and this one got a, well, these two got the same score. This one ran better, and this one looks better and feels better. So they got the same score of 5.33. So it's a tie between these two, and I'll try to get some more videos if I want to get some time, and I do have some much better fidget spinners to show you that'll get much better spin durations. And that is the end of the first video, which is about the geekiest thing I've ever done in my life. Goodbye.